Henderson,
Hey, what's up? How
how
you
are
doing?
you? I'm doing well.
Uh, Glad that you do, man.
Yeah, it's been a little while, a couple months since I last saw you. Saw you
Yeah,
over at Pro
yeah,
Cigar.
yeah. Like we saw before all the drama.
I know.
Huh?
We got in right under the radar, so it was good that it happened
Yeah,
when it did. But how have you been doing?
man, just chilling. I'm in a forced vacation right now, so
I think a
it's
lot of
like,
people are.
yeah, it's just like it's hurting a lot of business right now, but it is what it is.
Yeah, how are things in the Dominican Republic?
Um, no, everything's closed here. The only thing open here is like a hospital and uh, obviously, the grocery store, pharmacy, like drugstore, like main business, but not like most of the factory they're closed. There are a few factory that just opened like this week.
Uh-huh.
I think it's kind of risky. It's when thing is just like it kind of starting right now. So I don't know. It's a weird situation right now.
It definitely is. It's taking
Yeah.
a I know it's making I know somebody says it's crazy some factories have opened, but I mean it's a big deal to close, and then like you said, it's a big deal to open as well, though. I mean, you kind of unfortunately you have to kind of each one has to gamble, I guess, and figure out when is the right time to open for them. So
Yeah. It's, let's see. You know, I want to open, soon
right,
because it seems like this virus is not something that is gonna go out fast. It's not something that's gonna go out away fast. So um, I think in some point we need to start.
all right,
Take the risk, but also like we're trying to be very prudent. You know, about this situation.
definitely.
Hmm.
Well,
So tell me about you.
I have been doing well. I mean, it was a little bit of an adjustment, kind of figuring out how to deal with quarantine and staying in and not going to an office and not spending any time with family and friends and all that. But I feel like I've adapted to the point where it's going to be hard to readjust now because it's like I get my work done a lot quicker. I'm able to focus in a lot more than I was before. I'm not like drop dead tired. I'm one of those people lately who've had to travel nonstop, and now I'm grounded like everybody else. So it's an adjustment, but I'm trying to make the best of a situation, basically. So
I think pretty much everybody is in the same spot right now.
yeah, it's
So
not a it's
it's
not an
just do you
individual
know
problem.
the only thing that I figured out is like um my days are flying. Like I wake up early in the morning and I still the whole day busy
Hmm.
until I go to sleep. And I'm at home. Not working but like the whole day doing something the whole time. So
I'm the same way. I get up
and
and
and the last thing that I did I downloaded a video game. Like so so tell me, you're not smoking a cigar right now? Not smoking a cigar today?
no, I'm inside my apartment, and it's
Mm.
one of those places where they're very strict about smoking
So I
and
have an interview for you. I have a few questions. Uh, you're my guest.
I was like, say we're gonna flip the switch here.
Yeah.
You're gonna
So
interview me. No, I
so
mean,
when did you start in the cigar industry? Like
when did I start? I started, honestly, it was almost, believe it or not, it was almost 10 years ago. So
Really?
I started back in 2010. So for me, I was a graphic designer, and I had spent 4 years working in a gardening magazine. So all about plants and flowers and trees. And a company bought that magazine out, laid everybody off. I needed a new job. I was freelancing for a little bit in between, and I saw this little Craigslist ad for, it just said graphic designer, it didn't say what for. And I was just like, at that point, I was like, I don't even care at this point. I was like, I'll just take any interview I can get, whatever. And so by that time, I had gone through a few interviews and they didn't go well. And so I just like walked in there and I was just like sat down and I was like, they were asking me questions and I was like, this is how I would do it. And they liked my kind of laid back attitude, and they were suddenly like, oh, you want to work here? And I was like, okay. And I was like, hey, it was a job. It was a paying job, and it was better than freelancing. And they're like, do you care if it's tobacco? And I was like, look, as long as I'm not forced to do it if I don't want to. I was like, that's fine. So I did the graphic design bit for like years, and it wasn't until like maybe 2015 that I switched over and did this editorial, writing. And I still do some of the graphic design, but not as much. So
I think I on my understanding, you have a lot of talent, like writing. Uh, I mean, because I have the opportunity to have an interview with you, and everything, every question was like super well structured. So
yeah, it's funny because when I was in university, I had transferred. I spent a year in Miami, going to UM, and then I didn't like it there, so I transferred back to North Carolina. And then they're like, well, you have to pick a major. And I was like, okay. And they're like, what do you want to be? I was like, I have no idea. They're like, well, what do you like to do? And I was like, well, I'm into art, but I also want to make a living. I want to get paid. I don't want to like be a painter or something. I don't want to be struggling. And they said, oh, you should get into journalism. And I was like, journalism, like writing? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I got into the journalism thing, and even though my focus and my concentration was visual communications, I had to learn how to write just like anybody else. So it was, and then I got out of college and didn't plan to do any writing, or really. I focused on graphic design for a couple of years, and opportunities came up and I just started doing more writing.
Nice. I think you're doing great. You're doing great, man.
Well, thank you.
So do you have the opportunity to try all the lines that we have with Adventura Cigars?
No, so I haven't yet. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about too, because I know that people maybe don't know about Adventura like I do. I mean, I try to stay abreast of everything that's going on, and I know you gave me a cigar to try at Pro Cigar, but I wanted you to tell everybody about Adventura and what it is and how they can find it.
You never had one?
I haven't tried. No, I haven't tried one. I had
Come
that one
on.
cigar. I had that one cigar that you gave me at Pro Cigar, and it's been saved in my humidor. Because like right as I came back from Pro Cigar, all of this stuff started to happen. Somebody says that they love this format of you interviewing me, so it's funny. Look,
the Santos.
These whole things are like unscripted. Like most interviews is funny because they are so structured, and you get and you're going after a certain angle. And then it's like what we're doing now is like, I told people, because other people that I've asked to do this, they're like, well, what are the questions that are going to be asked? I'm like, I have no idea. I was like, why structure it right now? Like, our lives aren't even structured. So why structure a very rigid interview that's like very stiff and boring? So it's very open. So, I don't mind answering questions. It's funny to switch off sometimes.
So as you being like a graphic designer, a writer, so you being very focused on the marketing side of the cigar industry, how do you see Aventura like from the outside?
From the outside, from the outside, like looking deep into it, I like the kind of adventure spin that you put on it. Like you have like a ship pirate theme. I see all your pictures that you and Marcel put on social media. You know, it's fun. It's laid back. I mean, the bands are kind of plain, but again, it makes you stand out because most of the bands in our industry are these elaborate, you know, like family crest emblems, golds, and stuff like that. So I like that you are more stripped down. You know, the only issue I think is that we have to like get that story out there about what it is a little bit more, especially in like the U.S. market. The U.S. market is so crowded with cigars that you walk into a humidor a lot of times, and there's so many cigars there that I think most people go straight towards what they know, and they don't want to. And with money being tight, and especially now with coronavirus making budgets even tighter, you know, they want to go with what they like, and yet I feel like what they're doing is themselves a disservice because they should be going to something that they may not know. Because how do you know you don't like something unless you try it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, the thing, we never have a year in the United States market yet. So we're starting in a very boutique way. It was more like a talk about brand, you know, by reference. So, and some of my friends that own a store. So this is the kind of people that carry the cigar right now in the United States. So uh, we we on marketing basically is like the social media,
Right.
and we have some brokers that work with us in the United States. Um, but as as big it is the United States market, you you have a lot of distraction. So it's so much going on with every single brand, and there is a lot of brands in the United States market. So it's hard to get the attention at the beginning without have like some background on the distribution side
Right.
before. So it's like I've been in the business for a long time, more on the manufacturing side, not on the distribution side, not on the road, you know. So there's a lot of retailers that still don't know me, and and this is a work that we have to get done. So um, we I think we have a good market so far. We are close to 100 stores in the United States. In less than a year, we just started in the United States around August last year. So it's been good for us. It's been growing slowly, organically, and but it's, at the same time, so much going on. You know, for a new brand, you have FDA going on. You have now the coronavirus going on. So it's kind of it's too much. It's too much. So, but the only thing we have the passion. We have product. We have a great product. You know, a great package. We do the best with the tobacco, with the blending, packaging. I think we have the whole package together with the brand. But it's about time.
Yeah.
It's gonna take the time, but it's gonna be there. So I'm gonna make sure that you get your cigars this very soon. That's impossible.
Well, like when you talk about the size of Aventura and the size of what you're doing, I mean, do you? I think it's a good idea almost to have like that slow pace because if you go too big, then you have like a supply demand issue. Um, I mean, it's almost nice to pace it out a little bit to grow, like you said, organically rather than exploding and not be able to keep up with the demand for your cigars.
Yeah, man. And this is the way that it's gonna go because, like, I think the business model that is, uh, I mean, that more of the cigar brands developed in the United States.
Hmm.
It was like to be in the role selling cigar, doing events, this and that, and I run the factory in Dominican Republic. don't see that like a possibility in the future, like to be on the road the whole time. So I'm gonna be doing that like once in a while, every
Yeah.
time that is possible, and I do like a road trip to the best store that support Adventura, and to visit some new account that maybe we don't know each other yet. So my plan it was like to do at least like 8 trips to the United States this year. I already missed 3.
I know.
So it is what it is. A shout out to hello to the the cigar launch experience, podcast girls, Erica, and and my Dominican girl there, Amy. Um,
Our friend
okay.
Eddie is
Eddie's
here.
there. What's up? El Cubano. Alice, my boyfriend, Canada.
So, I mean, talking about flipping the switch back to you, the focus back to you a little bit. So when you're working in the factory and you're the co-master blender for Tabacalera Ventura William, what are you looking for in terms of like creating a cigar? Like what goes into that process, that mindset?
I mean, there's one point always that you're looking for that is like to work with the best tobacco as possible. Every year is a challenge, to with the climate. Every year is a new challenge with the soil, with taking care the seed doesn't degrade, with the time. So the challenge is always to have a good premium cigar, you know, good flavors, good strength, nice aroma, and then the rest is the process and the aging that this is something that the human can control. So there's many directions. Sometimes you work in basis of what you have from the crop that you're working this year. So you're trying to uh, take the best from those tobacco, flavor wise, how to balance the strength, the acidity of the flavor, um, the spiciness, and you're always looking for some direction, depending on what you're missing as like on the brand portfolio or a direction that you want to take. For example, depending on what I blend in, if I'm working for something for myself, I was looking for something unique and different, like something way different to anything that I ever have blend. And most of the time, I have some of my suppliers that told me, listen, try this new tobacco that we're working on, and I work based on that tobacco. So how I can create a nice blend, using that tobacco space. So we normally use three tobacco space in a blend. That most of the blend that we have one of those three tobaccos, and then we use like a layers to add flavor, strength, balance the blend. And there's too many ways how to come out with a blend, especially like depending on the what is the goal with the blend or which brand you're working on it.
Yes, somebody was asking, how do the prices for tobacco work? Like, how does that work, and how do you? They wanted to know how do you get a good price for tobacco, basically, on the manufacturing side.
This is I mean, this is something that we're not very focused on the prices of the tobacco. Even the tobacco doesn't much on prices. For example, I've been working with the same suppliers. I have one supplier that I have about 14 years working with. I have another supplier that I have 8 years working with. Then I have another supplier that I have about 6 years working with them. And what is gonna be some different the prices like a year or 2 years in advance, we know what is gonna be the price more or less. And I will tell you something for the risk uh, of the farmers that they take in with a different, climate, how difficult it is to get a good crop with the microclimates that we have in the Dominican Republic. Is the tobacco is not expensive enough? It's not expensive enough. So I took her very much that part, and I trying to motivate the farmer to do as best as they can do, always without limiting them on the prices. I always look, focus on the quality of the tobacco, not the price. Um, Also, we pretty much work with premium cigar. So if you see more or less every cigar that come out of my factory have the same, pretty much the same price range in the market. So this is based on the tobacco that we use. So and everything is to take care of the quality of the smoke. You know, this is the main focus. Then we have like one line that we produce in the factory that is not, or two lines that we have in the factory that they're not like a super premium, but we're still using premium tobacco. What we do, for example, you have some classification on the type of the filler. For example, you use the A grade, that is all the clean leaf with no holes, no break leaf, beautiful. And then you have the V, that is the same tobacco but have a little break. The the leaf breaking a little side, have a little hole, uh, any detail. That doesn't pass as like the best quality. They put it on the second, and but you still have a good quality of tobacco. We mix that kind of tobacco for some cheaper brands that we produce, but that's maybe 10% of the production from the factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you've worked with some interesting people, like collaborating with them to help them bring their cigars to life, like Robert Caldwell and Tony Bellotto and Matt Booth. I mean, what's it like working with so many different personalities?
Um, it's cool. I mean, uh, I've been learning a lot from those people through the years. Um, we live in Iceland here, and we are very focused on some specific things in the factory. And then when you have people like Tony Bellotto that been working the whole life in a cigar store with his dad, and they see the business like in a different angle that is not the same as you look at the business. You know, you have the chance to share experience, and get you to a point that you can bring a better product to the client and offer what the people looking for in a better way. So the same with Robert. I mean, is an entrepreneur. I knew Robert like about 8 years, 9 years ago. Uh, I think almost right when he was starting with the cigar business with Halter Humidor. And I've been seeing all the ideas that he have about marketing, his name of brands, design, his passion for the tobacco, his passion for the art, and how he combined both of them, and the way that he pushed, the way that he handled some things in his size of the business, and it's been very cool. I mean, Matt Booth also, you know, that come for from produce cigar in another country, and then he come to Dominican Republic, and he tried to keep his line always, but then you use some way different tobacco from another country. You try to fit his palate. So always is a new challenge. It's a different challenge with different people, and I've been learning a lot from every single one.
When you and Marcel decided to start Adventura, did any of them give you any advice about starting your own brand?
I mean, I talk to Robert like pretty much about everything all the time because besides business, we and in terms of branding and the market in the United States, I always consult any curiosity that I have, with him. Uh, this is someone that I trust and someone that I've been working for a long time and that I know before we do business. So he's like kind of a mentor for me.
I like that he's very candid. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks, how he thinks it. He does not sugarcoat anything, which is very refreshing. I told him that last week when he was on here. I was like, "You're very upfront, but that's what I can appreciate because whatever he tells you is how it is. It's not sugarcoated or he doesn't hold back."
I mean, he's very straight always. He's like the way that he speaks to me is like my dad. Not in the nicest way. So he's been very clear with me all the time, very straight, and I mean, sometimes he told me you're gonna be fucked with this. He told me the experience that he has when he started his own brand. Like, get ready for this, get ready for the other thing, get ready for the traveling, for the stress, for this, like.
but that's what you need. You need somebody like that who can help. It's almost like a mentor, and like you said, somebody who can help guide you through this, navigating through all the twists and turns of the industry, because it's a competitive industry to get into it at any point. So you kind of need all the input and help that you can get.
Yeah. I kind of understand, the business very well on the distribution side, but when you now work with, like, some things you understand from outside and something you understand from the inside, and more when you deal with the different personality in the cigar industry in the road, different retailers, different areas, taxes, this, that, brokers, sales guys. This is a different story that you have to be face to face to understand their reality.
Right.
And by the end of the day, you have to have the balls, and to be smart enough to not repeat mistakes that people did in the past, learn from other people's mistakes, and learn from other people's success also.
Did your dad give you any advice about starting your own brand? Because I know you make brands for a lot of people, but like you said, it's a completely different experience to have your own brand. So not only are you making it, but you have to market it and sell it. And work on the distribution and all that other stuff.
I mean, my dad gave me advice more inside the factory, like everything that is from the factory to the back, production wise, blending this and that, but not that much on the marketing of the cigar. This is something that he never experienced before. So he can have some idea that he can tell me, and share with me, but he's not very into the branding.
Now I know that we kind of touched on it. I have the story right here. So we touched on how the Adventura brand kind of came about between you and Marcel. In the story, I don't know if people can see it. Very photogenic. But you just tell us that story about how you and Marcel even came up with the brand, because I think that's I always like those backstories about how you kind of were sitting there kind of working, and then all of a sudden you have this idea for a brand, and then you bring it to life. So just tell us about how that came about.
Yeah, he tried that blend. He came to visit to the factory and gave me one of those cigars. I remember right now it was the Adventura Explorer Corona, the Corona Gorda. So that was a blend that I have there for myself. I was tasting a new wrapper, so I make like a little batch for me. And every time that I have some friends visiting to the factory, I give one of those cigars like a special gift or something. So I give that cigar to myself quietly, and then I give him like a bundle of 10 cigar. And when he get back to Switzerland, he texts me, man, like I've been smoking that cigar, it's so amazing. Like what are you doing with that blend? I'm like, nothing. This is something that I do for fun, for myself to enjoy, self enjoyment. And he was like, I'm looking to do a cigar for my store. It was, let's go ahead. Like, you can use the blend. It's no problem. Nobody have it before. It's just, the only thing is can be very limited. It was, yeah, it's something small from my own store, and it's not gonna be nothing crazy. So, like a week later, he sent me like all those designs and the name of the brand. I was like, hold a minute, like you cannot use the name. And he was, what are you talking about? It was like, no, this is a name that I have in my notebook, like for a future brand. And he was really like, nah, if you want, like, you just change the name or do something else. And then he was like, what do you think if we do something together? I was like, I was looking at the design, all the idea that he has. I was like, show me more what you had. So then we started to share some knowledge about, some experience about cigar, tobacco, marketing, this and that. And we end up like working on the brand together. And the first plan for him, like the first blend that I created was for fun, for self-enjoyment. And his plan was like to create like a house brand for his store, and that's it. And then we end up like building a whole brand and marketing in Switzerland and Dominican Republic.
And you were at the PCA or the IPCPR show last year for the first time with the brand, weren't you?
The brand was there for first time.
Yeah.
I cannot even been there. I have some issues with my passport and couldn't make it on time for the trade show. It was sucks.
I know. You're ready for the big debut, and you couldn't be there for it, because I remember passing the booth several times. So I know I saw it. I don't think I was able to stop and speak to Marcel about it, but I saw that you all did have a presence there. So I was like, they're trying to get into the U.S. market now. I was like, hopefully they will, make it in there. Because it's funny, because there's a lot of smart retailers right now who are starting to really look at what kind of cigars they bring into their stores, and they're making some bold decisions by, you know, looking more at the boutique market than what the bigger brands that everybody knows, because they want to diversify their portfolios within their stores and give their customers a reason basically to come there. Like, why offer a brand that, you know, you can get anywhere, and you know, and yet, you know, they could offer a boutique brand that you can only get at their store in the city, and that's a big selling point for them and their customers.
I mean, the thing is, like, by the end of the day, cigar is a lifestyle. So the boutique brand is being in charge of give to the cigar a refreshed looking, feeling, and experience. So this is something that works together with the sense of the human. You know, you want to uh, have something that you feel identify with, probably flavor wise, size, shape, color of the wrapper, um, design, style. Also, like people that follow the trend of what is new, what is different, and I think like the boutique uh, corner is been playing a big role on that the cigar industry, like changing the game pretty much. And always you're gonna have some like uh iconic brand like that are on the top that are gonna be there. Always like some big names, some Pacific cigar that is gonna be like the luxury cigar that people and the classy luxury cigar that people recognize from. Even people that does a small cigar can recognize the brand.
Right.
Like I saw that brand. I know what it is. I don't know how it tastes. I don't know, you know, if I'm gonna like it. But this is something that I'm gonna look cool. You know, if I have that brand in my hand. You know, or this is something that I was gonna say. But I think the boutique market is the big piece of the cake to the big companies in the cigar industry. And that's why you see more and more boutiques brand growing and growing. And maybe like back in the days, they were like a very small company, and now they make some kind of serious numbers. And it's because they've been creative and they've been putting a good quality and they've been educating their customer base, you know, about what they do in the tobacco. And there's a lot of more people doing good quality cigar right now than back in the days. Like you can find like a lot of good brands and good cigar in the market right now, and that was the same story back in the days with the brands. So uh, I think that's a reason because all retailers and you know all school retailers being more open to support boutique brands and all the new generation of retailers like or second generation or third generation of retailers they've been more inclined to the direction of the boutique brands than the basic stuff. Then you have some retailers that feel passionate about what they do and they you know love boutique brands and they're gonna be carrying like a big portfolio boutiques in the humidor, but they're gonna sell the cigar and they educate their customers. But then you have another side of the retailers that are like the people that want their business to work for them, that they just gonna buy a cigar that people can recognize and people ask for, you know, or easy sell cigars. And they're not gonna be that focused on what is good, like why I should buy this, like because look cool, this and that. No, they just want the cigar to sell itself, and that's not the kind of retailer that we are. We're never gonna be there. because always a new brand needs support of the retailer to push, you know, their customer to try the new cigar. So
When it comes to your process, like when you're just working in a factory or you're working on Adventura, how do you foster your creativity? Do you have a journal that you keep notes in? Do you write down your notes? How do you kind of keep track of all these ideas that you might have that you might want to try out?
I mean, I will say like I have a lot of notes and design that I draw back in the days when I was younger that I have in my notebook still that I still plan to use in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I will say, the last 3 years, and I've been very creative about design and uh, some branding stuff because I'm super busy. So when you are like at some point like you are too crazy busy, like you're creative like a kind of luck. So but I have a lot of people very talented around me that they're very creative. Like Marcel, my partner, his that his strength. You know, he's super good at that. And every day have a new idea. Like check this, check that. What you think about this? What you think? And then he's very creative. I do my science, and I think everybody should focus on what they do best. And I used to be very creative, but then I have after I have like so many responsibility in the factory, it's like a kind of I cannot focus that way that that good to create new things.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
like a design wise and branding wise.
I know when we were at TPE, it was fun seeing who you interact with, and I saw you like interacting with Indiana, and I was like, here's like two of the industries like upcoming like master blenders, and I was like, I couldn't follow what you were saying and what you all were talking about, but I was like, it's cool to see you two interact because I know that she's like super creative, and I love watching her how she handles Instagram, how she shows people she shows her work, which is like always fun to see. And I think you do the same with the behind the scenes, especially with the Adventura brand. Like I said, I see a lot more pictures coming out, on Facebook or on Instagram with you and Marcel and you in the factory and you showing that process. So I hope all of that continues because it's fun to kind of see what's going on behind the curtain basically, because I think that helps build your brand too, because people are always on social media now, so it's a big sales tool that you have to tap into.
I mean, and sometimes I wish like to show more about the process of the factory and what is behind uh, everything. Because times go so fast sometimes that you pushing and pushing every day, get things done that sometimes I forgot about cell phone. I forgot about social media. Like I don't have my mind. Like let's do this and let's record, take a picture. Like I don't have my mind on that sometimes. Uh, like like always, what I do like when I'm more calm, I decide let's do some material for the social media or whatever. I make sure that I create like enough material for a while so I
Yeah.
can keep posting in a few days. But I think you have to have someone next to you all the time, like to be filming and doing things,
You
you
need to
know,
you need to
until
find
you
out how
while you're
Michael
walking.
Herklotz does it. Find out how Michael
Well,
Herklotz does it, because everybody wants to know like who's following Michael Herklotz around to take these like great pictures and stuff. And I've yet to find out. It's one of those like mysteries of the industry. But like you said, he has somebody always there, kind of helping him and taking the pictures and showing the background. So,
That's
you
a model, man. You're talking about a model. That's a great guy, man.
he is.
Like,
So,
yeah,
I mean, it's like I said, everybody, because we're working on a story on him now, and one of the questions that came up from somebody like, did he talk about who takes his pictures? And I'm like, I have no idea. I was like, he won't answer that question. So, you know, it's one of those mysteries, but, you know, he has a great social media presence. So,
yeah, he does.
you know, it's something for all of us to strive towards. I mean, we can't all have our personal, you know, social media person. I know Pierre says Michael must have a full-time photographer follow him around. That's what we all think. One day we're going to find out. So what have you been?
There's a guy that's saying that Michael Heckler should have like a full-time photographer.
Yeah. So what have you been doing since this quarantine situation has gone on? I mean, how are your days structured? Because you're so, like you just been talking about for the last couple minutes, you're so used to being in a factory setting and now you're like not there. So what have you been doing to occupy your time?
I'm trying to be proactive, to keep my brain busy. So, I mean, the first 15 days were kind of weird, you know, and I was stuck in my house with my wife and my kids, and then after 15 days passed and everybody was healthy in the family. I mean, my parents and my brother and my, you know, and my family side also. So everybody was healthy after 15 days without go out. Then I started to visit my mom's house and my dad's house. So that now every morning, like at 6, I show up at my parents' house, pick up my dog, and go for a walk because we live like about 2 blocks away. And I take my dog, go for a walk for 30 minutes. When I get back with the dog, they're in the front porch drinking coffee. I join them, drink coffee, have a cigar with my dad early in the morning, and then I go back to my house and do stuff there, you know, do any work that I have to do. And then like helping cleaning this, that, I try to read book. Uh, and then every night I just chill, have a drink, have a cigar. After all the kids went to sleep, it's just chill time for an hour or two, and then go to the bed. It's like I have a routine already with this quarantine. I've been in the factory like the 3 times, but I just can't go to the factory by myself. I can let nobody get into the factory with me. So because the factory right now is into a free soundtrack, you know, like into a park right now, free trade zone park, and they control the entry of the people there now. Like the owner of the factory can go into the park, but not any employees or not any other people can come with me. So it's kind of weird. So I've been there like 3 times to get a couple of things done, pick up some cigars, and that's it.
I mean, do you have any, like, if you're not trying to rush to open up the factory too soon? Do you have any idea when you might reevaluate the situation to get things opened again, and kind of not back to normal, but back to some kind of resemblance of normal?
For sure, I'm looking for the beginning of May, like by the end of this month or beginning of May, like the first week or something.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking to May 1st to see how things kind of shake out, and hopefully things will be a little bit better to at least enable people to people who need to get into offices and all that kind of stuff to go back to the office setting. But it's a weird time.
It's a weird time.
That's all I have to say. You know,
We got Ronnie on the show, Anthony. Get ready for this. Are you ready for? Do you know Ronnie?
No, I don't.
You don't know Ronnie Haisha, Secreto Cigar Bar from Detroit. This is some people say like he's the being human. He's like one of the most pushy person that you're gonna meet. And he say if he asking if you want him to make your show famous.
I'm scared to answer that. So that's always like a weird question. You're like, maybe. How? I don't want to be famous for like the wrong reason. We don't need any controversies right now. But wow. So I mean, 2020 in general, like once we get past coronavirus, I mean, what's your focus? What's your goal to accomplish?
My focus is to continue, with my agenda. And we have a plan to release some new sizes on the Adventura portfolio. We're gonna stand like the blue line that is the Navigator. We're gonna add the Corona size. The same for the Black and the Conqueror. We plan to add a Corona size, and we also coming with 2 new blends for Adventura this year. So this is the main goal, and the 2 Corona size that we want to add to the lines, it was supposed to came out by this time, but now everything's delayed. And then the 2 new blinds that we plan to release, we have the plan to release those brands by the PCA, but I don't know if this is something that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. I know I'm looking forward to at some point soon trying out Adventura and helping to push it. I know we've talked about doing a story in the magazine about it, so we still need to do that and team up and see if we could, get it going.
Yeah.
So Pierre had a question. He said, if you had to recommend one of your cigars for quarantine, which one would you recommend?
I would recommend the Red Adventura Explorer. Something different. And this is what I smoke most. Like there's a guy that commented that he just smoked a Red Boss Press this afternoon. And this is a cigar that I love. The Red Boss Press is one of my favorite cigars and one of the most unique cigars that I ever had. So this is something that I recommend full time.
Well, I mean, we're close to the end of our hour together, so it's been fun. I mean, we started off with you interviewing me, and then we switched it off and talked about Adventura, and I hope people, like I said, I hope this created a little bit of a buzz for it, and like I said, we'll have to touch base soon and get another story about Adventura, just about that for our magazine, and I look forward to whenever our next encounter is, whenever that is.
I'm open, man. I'm open. Whatever you want to do, I'm here, man. With pleasure. With pleasure.
Well, great. Well, like I said, thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule to talk, and I look forward to continue to speak with you offline and like I said, telling the Adventura story and whatever our next encounter is. You always surprise me where you pop up. You popped up at TPE. you popped up at the white party at Pro Cigars. So I never know when I'm going to see you. So it's always fun. It's always fun when you do pop up because it's unexpected, but it's always a pleasure.
You need to come to the factory one day, man.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, your factory would be one of those that I definitely want to check out. So
just be safe so you're still alive and you make it.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody that was watching the show. Thank you, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
I hope that we can do more things together.
Oh, definitely. We will. Don't worry.
It was a pleasure, man. Have a good day.
You too.